Good day, everyone. I am Kimi Halaska from Group 8, and together with me is Missionit K. Candia, and we are the one who is assigned to answer the activities for Lesson 6. So for Lesson 6, there is two questions. The first one is we need to define what is poetry, and the second one is to give samples of poetry according to language and types. So now let's answer the first question, which is what is poetry? So everyone, poetry is a type of literature based on the interplay of words and rhythm. It often employs rhyme and meter, a set of rules governing the number and arrangement of syllables in each line. Poetry is the most emotionally charged means of written expression, and it consists of words arranged in patterns of sound and imagery to spark an emotional and intellectual response from us. It offers a unique way for individuals to express their thoughts, feelings, and insights in a more imaginative and engaging manner. The language in poetry is musical, precise, memorable, and magical.
So I am Shanat Kandia, and now let's proceed to the samples of poetry according to language and types. But before that, in the language of poetry, there are two parts, the imagery and sound patterns. Under the imagery are literal images and figurative images. When we say literal images from the word literal, it means the words are used to describe something directly by appealing to one or more of our senses. When we say figurative images, it uses words that are more than what it says it is. In simple words, it goes beyond the literal definition of the word. And under sound patterns are rhythm and rhyme. Rhythm refers to the stressed and unstressed syllables in the language, while rhyme is the repetition of similar sounds in the two or more words. Next is literal images. In literal images, we have here visual images describing what one sees, often creating a vivid picture. Example is flowers everywhere. Flowers, flowers everywhere. In the garden, in my hair. In the vase, at the store. On the table, on the door. What a lovely time of the year. Flowers blooming everywhere.
Next is tactile images. So tactile images, they appeal to our sense of touch. For example, touch of the cold wind, the little star. I woke up to the cold touch of air, enveloping my skin, nobody around but me, and your memory. I called out your name, believing someone dead has come out of this lonely crowd. I heard the silence. I felt your presence in the touch of the cold wind.
Next is auditory images. Auditory images suggest the sounds of things. For example, a thunderstorm. Boom, bang, boom, bang. Rumpity, lumpity, bump. Zoom, zang, zoom, zang. Clippity, clappity, clomp. Rustles and bustles and swishes and zings. What wonderful sounds a thunderstorm brings.
Next is olfactory images. So olfactory images, they suggest the smells of things. So for example, the sweet smell of roses by Charles Silverstein. In a garden of roses, so bright and fair, their sweet scent fills the air beyond compare. With each gentle breeze, their fragrance flows. Oh, the joy of the sweet smell of roses.
Next is kinesthetic images. Kinesthetic images, this refers to actions or motions. For example, The Wind by Patricia Gabo. Something that I cannot see makes a leaf dance in a tree, makes my hair fly in my face, takes the ball for me to chase. Here it is, and there it goes, every time the wind blows.
Next is gustatory images. So gustatory images, they suggest the taste of things. For example, I'm so hungry by Philip Lore. Tickling doors in my nightly dream. Fresh strawberries topped with cream. Thick-flowing mignon, chips, curly fries. I lick my lips. My imagination flies. My stomach rolls for these things to eat. When I get home, oh boy, what a treat!
Now let's proceed to figurative images. First is the simile. Simile is comparing one thing to another, employing a connective such as like or as. For example, all about me. I'm as fast like a cheetah. I'm as funny as a clown. I'm as sweet as honey. I'm as busy as a bee. I am bright like a sun. All about
Metaphor. Metaphor is an implied comparison, not directly stated with words such as like and us. So, for example, my cat. My cat is a bundle of fur, a tiger on the pole, a hunter in the night, a gymnast on the couch, and an electric blanket when I sleep. So next is rhythm and rhyme. But first let me discuss first what is rhythm. So rhythm is a pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables in language. So for example, for rhythm, Mary had a little lump. Mary had a little lump, little lump, little lump. Mary had a little lump, its place was white as snow. And everywhere that Mary went, Mary went, Mary went. Everywhere that Mary went, the lump was sure to go. It followed her to school one day, school one day, school one day. It followed her to school one day, which was against the rules. It made the children laugh and play, laugh and play, laugh and play. It made the children laugh and play to see a lump at school. And so the teacher turned it out, turned it out, turned it out. And so the teacher turned it out, but still it lingered in.
Now let's move on in another type of sound pattern, which is rhyme. Again, rhyme is a repetition of similar sounds in two or more words. Example of rhyme is end rhyme, wherein the placement of rhyme is at the end of the line. For example, see the bug. See the bug on the rug. I will give his legs a tug. See him run, see him go. He didn't like it, no, no. See him hop on the mop, see him hide, make me stop. I will stop, I will not tug. You are safe, little bug. Next is alliteration. When we say alliteration, it refers to the repetition of usually initial consonant sounds in two or more neighboring words. For example, Betty Butter. Betty Butter bought a bit of butter. The butter Betty Butter bought was a bit bitter and made her butter bitter. But a bit of better butter makes a better butter. So bitter butter bought a bit of better butter, making bitter butter's bitter butter better.
Next is assonance. So, assonance is a literary device where the repetition of vowel sounds occurs within nearby words in a sentence or phrase, and it adds musicality and rhythm to writing, similar to alliteration but focusing on the vowel sounds instead of consonants. So, for example, Moses. Moses supposes his toes are roses, but Moses supposes erroneously, for nobody's toes are posies of roses, as Moses supposes his toes to be. Next is consonants. So consonants is the repetition of consonant sounds within words, often with a variation in adjoining vowels. So for example, Old Man Pelican by Elizabeth Gordon. Here is old Mr. Pelican. He is a famous fisherman. Said he, I do not mind wet feet if I catch fish enough to eat.
Now is the type of poetry. So there are two types of poetry, the narrative poetry and the lyric poetry. Narrative poetry tells stories in verse, while lyric poetry refers to a short poem, often with song-like qualities that expresses the speaker's personal emotions and feelings, and this has variety of forms such as haiku, sinken, sonnet, limerick, and many more. Here is an example of narrative poetry. The terrible thing about Cindy. The terrible thing about Cindy is she packs a powerful punch. I learned this yesterday at school when I tried to take her lunch. I had only meant to tease her, to make her squeal and twist. The last thing I expected was her calculated fist. She socked me in the stomach, she's more than slightly deaf, and sent me stumbling to my knees as she snatched her lunch and left. After that, I was quite sorry. I had tussled with a girl. I wish my friends had told me that she practiced taekwondo.
Next is haiku. Haiku is a lyric and rhyme poem of Japanese origin with 17 syllables divided into 3 lines. It is usually on the subject of nature and humans' relationship to nature. Successful haiku uses metaphor to give us a fresh and imaginative look at something we may view as quite ordinary. For example, the seasons. Spring is really here. Flowers are starting to bloom. Sunshine fills the air.
Another form of lyric poetry is sinken. This type of poetry has 5 line stanza, often with 2, 4, 6, 8, and 2 syllables respectively in the 5 lines. For example, Lucifer rises. You see his butt arc, his claws they dig so deep. You tense, he yawns, your stomach tears, he grinds.
Next is sonnet. So sonnet is a very old form of poetry, having gained prominence during the Renaissance, but not found much in poetry for children. And it contains 14 lines, each line with 10 syllables. For example, Unaware by Caitlin Gunther. Isolation quickly overwhelms me, begging for forgiveness, a fallen hand. Desolation I now begin to see, hanging by a thin thread, a single strand. I watch them, their fears, their misbehavior, misthreat, abuse, completely unaware. I am the land, their glorious savior. Someday they will learn to treat me with care. I wish they would learn to trust each other, to join as one, to stand strong together. A bond, and mighty brother, forever as one, a powerful tether. You may not know that fear is their captor, so you may not see each special factor.
Next form is limerick. This is a 5 line humorous poem where the first, second, and fifth lines are rhyming, and the third and fourth lines rhymes. For example, a fellow jumped off a high wall. A fellow jumped off a high wall and had a most terrible fall. He went back to bed with a bump on his head. That's why you don't jump off a wall.
Next is free verse. Free verse is adhering to no predetermined rules, but usually with its own intricate patterns of rhyme and rhythm. For example, Shoulders by Naomi Shugab. A man crosses the street in rain, stepping gently looking 2 times north and south, because his son is asleep on his shoulder. No car must flash him, no car drive too near to his shadow. This man carries the world's most sensitive cargo, but he's not marked. Nor does his jacket say fragile, handle with care. His ear fills up with breathing. He hears the hum of a boy's dream deep inside him. We're not going to be able to live in this world if we're not willing to do what he's doing with one another. The road will only be wide. The rain will never stop falling.
Finally, the concrete poetry. In this type of poetry, the words are arranged to form a pictorial representation of the poem's subject. For example, a drop of rain is like a sudden knock at the door, unexpected yet often welcome with a smile. It can brighten your day or ruin your plans. It can make you laugh or make you sad, whether the raindrop is moving fast or slow, or is big or small. It always gets everyone's attention. A raindrop contains many secrets. It is a bubble of anticipation and surprise. It cleanses the earth, it feeds the flowers, and fills the holes. The raindrop is never a silent. It bangs on the roof, spatters on the window, or splashes in the puddle. A raindrop. So as you can see, the title of the poem is Raindrop, and the words of the poems are arranged to form a raindrop which represents the subject of the poem, which is raindrop. Alright, so that's all for this group activity. Hope you learned something from us. Thank you for watching.